set them up as we go into this. So bottom left hand side, we're going to have our red Zerg player from Mind Sanity. Let's hear it, guys. If you're going to be cheering on, Serral. And to the upper right, it is going to be teal Terran player from Romantic Gaming. It is Uzikoti. Uzikoti. Da da da. Alrighty, so getting set up, ready to go into our second best of 3 of the day here. Hope you're all doing well. Again, thanks for sticking tuned during the break, of course, while we got set up into our next match. And thank you very much, 6rex NA6, for the first follow of the tournament. Not the first follow of the day, because we had another event earlier we were streaming, if you guys didn't know, the Leifeng Cup, $2,600. Fantastic finals in particular. Reality versus Beyond in the finals. Really, really awesome. Definitely suggest that you guys check that out on the YouTube channel when it goes up in the next couple of days. So yeah, that was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. It was really great. So not the first follow of the day, but first follow of this event. Thank you very much, 6rex NA6, as we set up into Dusk Towers for this best of 3 TVZ. And so far so good. Nothing crazy, no proxies. Looks as though we might have a bit of a longer one compared to what we just saw in the TVT on Dusk Towers, which was not very long at all. It was like 4 minutes or something, I think, before Acheron tapped out. Something like that. It was very close to that anyways. We do see the hatchery on the way down on the low ground from Serral, and he's actually going to decide to actually expand, out to the front first, which is almost always beneficial in ZvT, because unless you're going to be hiding kind of 2-base tech, like a very fast lair or something, this is a great way to just realistically stop your opponent seeing your 3rd base timing, and stop your opponent from actually being able to doom touch, but also get your creep out onto the map too. Now, it can be nice on this map to put your hatchery here and actually go into your lair there if you want to hide it as well. But then your opponent does see the lack of a 3rd base. I mean, it's very dependent, of course, and a lot of it just depends on, can you deny scouting very well on this low ground base? Well, I don't think so. Not as well as you can deny it if you just have these 2 bases up in the high ground. So I think that's sort of what it comes down to, and depends if you have anything to hide with your scouting or not. Because even a late 3rd base, I mean, if you see no 3rd base, it can still just be maybe a bit of a delayed 3rd base, while we see maybe pneumatized carapace building or something. There's a lot of different possibilities of this Reaper going to be hopping back up into the main. I'm just going to be having a look around to see what's going on. Reaper going to be under attack from that Queen once again, but is just going to back away over to the top side. Overlord's just currently getting into position, getting ready to have a look to see what is going on at a little bit of a later point here for our Terran player, who is going to start up some Hellions. He's on double gas. He's also going to drop down the starport. And the tech lab next to it is a very telling setup. It kind of tells us that this is most likely going to be some kind of Cloak Banshee play from Uzikoti here over the next few moments. So you're going to see that tech lab on the way, starport next to it, and we do just see Queens pushing out the creep spread out the front of this base. So Queens just pushing out the creep, and a few lings just going to be moving out onto the map as well. So Serral just going to get those moving on out, as well. He's going to run into those couple of Hellions, and seeing that it's a Hellion based build, he'll realise, well, actually my Zerglings are probably a little bit safer at home, and so I will keep them there for now. Serral, though, going into the Roach Roar, and he's actually got Zergling speed, but he's going into the Roach Roar nonetheless. Probably not going to be an aggressive Roach Roar, then probably going to be just a, hey, I want to make sure I'm safe against maybe a Hellbat timing, want to make sure I'm safe against anything that could attack me early on in this game. So just setting up with that Roach Roar. He'll be able to make a few Roaches here very soon to just help himself defend. As you see the few Hellions and the Reaper just moving around, coming back towards the 3rd base, and then going to move out onto the map once again. So Uzikoti going to move down towards the lower left hand side, and as we see creep pushing out, and yeah, just lots of creep being pushing out onto the map. Serral just getting his creep spread going nicely. He's got a few lings here just to help him defend these Hellions. The first couple of Roaches on the way out, it is going to be Hellion Hellbat Banshee. He's got that armory on the way down, looking to go into this Hellbat attack. And, well, Hellbat attacks against kind of pure ling is pretty good, but Hellbat attacking against Roach Queen generally doesn't work out too well. That being said, only one Roach being made by Serral. Have I missed another couple? Or, I mean, is it really just one Roach? It is just one Roach. There's a few more coming in now. He is actually going to see this now as well. Then Roach is going to be out here in time. These Lings going to try and see if he can catch a Hellbat at the back on its own without kind of taking too much damage. Hellbat's beginning to split just in case of Banelings. Serral's immediately pulling back here with his Queen's going to turn and fight now. And just pulling back, making sure his Queen's are split up. He's got Transfuse available. Nice grenade. He's going to see the Zerglings at the back being dealt with by these by this Banshee. You're going to see Banshee cloaking up, but the Queen's doing a very good job pushing this back. Spore comes and burrows as well. It looks as though he will push this back again. The Queen's very good way to defend against this. Bunch of drones coming up behind this from Serral too. Our Terran player has been able to go into, he's been able to apply some pressure. Maybe the Cloak Banshee should stick around and try and get a little bit more done here. Third CC is going to be finishing up at the same time, so I mean, while he didn't necessarily do a bunch of damage, what he has been able to do is he's been able to set up into the third CC fairly quickly, fairly swiftly, and he's been kind of safe to build that in position too, because he's been the one applying the pressure in the game. Now, two Banshees going to join up together. One of them about to run out of energy though, so not going to be the most effective of Banshees. As we see more starports being added on, this is something he's saw in the production tab, and well, it's worth mentioning, of course, because it means we're probably going to see that Liberator Banshee style of play here. Something which we don't see a lot. In fact, the first time I saw it was was between Serral and Marine Lord. I think that was in the Acer Pro Challenge a couple of months ago. It's one of these builds and compositions which it can work and it can do very well. Oftentimes, I feel it does very well because the Zerg player isn't as well practiced against it as the Terran player is practiced in doing it, because the Terran player has probably done this multiple times before using it in a tournament or a qualifier, whereas the Zerg player has probably only played against it, well, probably has just straight up played against it much less, because it is not a common way to play. I mean, we cast, many TVCs each week, and I mean, the last time I actually saw someone doing this was probably actually Uzikoti himself, against Root Gaming in the SC2 ITL, which was a good couple of weeks. I mean, I say a good couple of weeks ago. I think it was like 3 weeks ago or something even. So it's been a while since I've seen this, and again, it's just not a common way to play. But it can definitely work out if you do the right things. If your opponent doesn't respond correctly. However, Serral is going into Spire. He's going into a hive. He's actually getting everything he needs to deal with this. He's already got an infestation put down, so he can go hive. So he can also add on infestors somewhat easily. As this Hellion run by, going to be coming over to the left. This melee upgrades coming in from Serral, so I wonder if he's just trying to rush Broodlords or something here. Broodlords eventually would be the answer. I know it's mass air, but Broodlords are the units which kind of stay in the air while everything else, while the air units of Serral fight, the Broodlords are in the air as well. And they don't get taken down immediately, and they just deal with whatever damage they need to deal to the ground. And you just go into them so naturally because you're going to have Corruptors, etc. to fight against this Liberator Banshee composition of the Terran player as well. As you're going to see, these Hellions just moving down towards the bottom right side or so. Just have a little bit of a look to see what is happening down here. Going to be seeing them moving over towards the center once again as well. So Hellions just moving around from Uzikoti, having a bit of a look to see again what is going on, what is happening, and looking to see what exactly he can get up to over the next few moments. It's kind of a weird, in a way. I mean, this is actually the map I saw Marine Lord versus Serral, which is the first time I saw this on, way back when. It was this map. It's kind of a weird map for it though, because the Hellions are generally not going to be as effective at running by as on other maps, I don't think. So it's kind of interesting, definitely, as we see more Hellions coming up again. These Hellions are not really made to fight per se. They're mostly just made to again run by and see what they can do. As we do see, Tunneling Claws has just finished up on these roaches as they run into a few Hellions in the middle, and obviously they want to be a bit careful because this Liberator Banshee Force can take them down rather quickly if they're not careful. Scan coming in. We're always going to see a few Scriptures being killed out. And a few Banshees might turn to just start working their way through. A couple of roaches here, maybe another scan, clean up a little bit more creep spread. Looks like he's going to go to the top side of the map and look to try and trade. I mean, what do we actually have out currently for Serral? 8 Queens, 3 Vipers, and 2 Corruptors. There's not really a lot of anti-air. As these, well, I mean, straight up and honestly, these Liberators going to cut Serral off from his 4th base over here. So, I mean, Uzikoti's actually just going to straight up kill this. So this has been very good for him so far. As couple of these Liberators on siege start working their way against this group of Liberators, group of Corruptors. A couple of Corruptors going down. The Viper's taking some damage too. This base falls. Serral has taken quite some damage here. These Banshees are going to try and get away, but they're being targeted by Corruptors too. So Uzikoti does good damage, but does end up losing quite a lot in the end, as we see him just targeting down one more Viper, then pulls away with those Liberators, trying to keep them safe. Eventually these Hellbats are going to go down as well. Try and just chase another couple of drone kills. Doesn't quite get it. Serral doesn't really lose a lot of drones. He's up on 80, and he's just going to take his gases over here now instead. So a little bit of delay on his economy, but nothing too major. As Command Center is floating out into position of the 4th base of CC. Probably won't float to the 5th. It'll probably just become a planetary fortress to begin with. As Uzikoti moving to the upper left-hand side, just going to look to try and run by with these Hellions. maybe find a few drones long distance mining or so. I mean, I guess he also can find a creep tumor, but that's about it. He scans, he sees a few roaches, and he's just going to move away from now. And well, he loses a couple of Hellions in doing so, so a couple of Hellions go down. But they're going to be able to come all the way back towards this upper right side. Liberators and Banshees all joined up together. Just going to be looking to see what their next move is going to be here. I mean, again, it's a very passive game from Uzikoti, as you would expect, given the playstyle he's going for. And we're kind of surprised we see this as a planetary and this as an orbital. It may have made more sense to make this an orbital and this a planetary, because this is kind of a central position you'll be able to defend more space with if it's a planetary, whereas the fourth base only kind of defends the kind of left-hand side of that little avenue. As you see, Helion's trying to dive, but Spine Crawler's saving the day. Serral up on 93 workers, so he has more than enough economy. So he can afford to lose a couple of drones here, a couple of drones there. That's not really too much of an issue for him. Of course, at the same time, what's Uzikoti meant to do with the excess minerals which he has? There's not really a lot he can do with them, apart from maybe keep on mass expanding. I mean, he already is mass expanding, and he's still affording a whole bunch of Hellions now and then. That's just how gas heavy his Liberator Banshee force is. I'd love to see him just try and take this 5th base ASAP, because honestly, it'd be work wonders for him in terms of just straight up getting his extra gas going. He's got so many kind of assets here. Float this one out over there, build a new one here, make a lot more sense. Again, just simply because he wants to get this going as soon as possible, realistically. As we're going to see Hellions run by once again. Hellbats now. Of course, that's the power of the Hellions. They can just become Hellbats and become a little bit more effective at picking down buildings. But this time around, just too many units over in position. As it's overall going to be chased over to the right-hand side. So these Roaches want to split up. Maybe harass this building 5th base a little bit. And there's the Banshees and the Hellbats coming forwards here towards this base. And well, this many Banshees can take down a Spore Crawler very quickly. Of course, they've got to be careful of the Corruptors. There's no Hyperflight Rotors just yet for these Banshees, if I'm not mistaken. And so they don't have that extra speed. There's nice split away from that Parasite Bomb almost immediately there. And Liberators. Well, a couple of them go down, but at least they got a kill on one of the Vipers. So, trade for trade. Both players just trading then. As you see them Roaches popping up and just looking to try and deny this base from building. So, nice little bit of counter-attacking action here. Keeping his opponent busy. And keeping his opponent kind of on his toes and making sure he's just not being, he's not just taking things for granted. His scan comes down to reveal these Roaches, and that's nice because there is a few hidden under there, and just in case there's other ones as well. Everything cleaned up. He's going to cancel the CC, just float one into position as well. I mean, that's what I kind of wanted him to do in the first place. Again, the faster he gets the CC up, the faster he gets the extra gases, and the more gas you have, well, the better position you get into as time goes by, because you're able to make more Liberators, make more Banshees, and that's the sort of, that is the unit composition which we're aiming for here as the Terran player. We're going for we're going for Liberator Banshee, and so the more of it you can afford, the better it's going to be. I mean, there's no way in which this composition gets any worse. As you see, a Fusion Core on the way, so Hyperflight Rotors potentially, Advanced Ballistics going to be potentially on the way as well. A lot of different options here of the Tech Lab starports. As you're going to see, the Liberators just splitting up, making sure they're not going to be in too abusable position when it comes to Parasite Bombs. But well, you do see Parasite Bombs starting to land, and well, Liberators are trying to split away, but the Corruptors, I mean, because they're splitting away, they're kind of unstacking, and so the splash damage being done is not very great. And so we do see the Corruptors winning that fight, the Liberators back away. However, look at this, Banshees coming in, they snipe down a base and then move away. At the same time, Hellbats, they're going to get cleaned up very easily by these Spine Crawlers. We're just coming in, picking off a unit or two, and again, these Banshees just coming back home and just going to be chilling out next to all of these Liberators and a few of these Hellions. So, just going to be drawing up together over here. Space to the top left comes in from Serral as well. Plus 2 upgrades on the melee, plus 3 missile attacks coming down. So just continue with his upgrades here as we send, he's going to send a few drones forward. I thought he was going to sacrifice them for more army supply, but he's actually just going to build a line of Spore Crawlers. So he's getting ready. I mean, this map is being split. There's no two ways about it. It's one of these compositions which, when the Terran decides to go for this, there's not really anything you can do as the Zerg other than play the long game. Resources loss has been heavily in favor of Serral. So I mean, the idea is you continue to trade something along these lines, like this. And you can continue to trade like this. Eventually, the Terran player just runs out of resources because you're trading better. As Parasite Bomb comes down, you can see Liberators coming forwards here. And some dirty damage on to Corruptors. Again, another Parasite Bomb, though. That splash is going to start adding up, but the Banshee's also doing a lot of damage here. Vipers are going down, and, well, is there enough Liberators to fight the Corruptors? I don't think there is. These Banshees are going to keep on chasing a few more Roaches, but now they're going to go down as well to the Corruptors, and Well, Uzikoti, it was going okay for him, but kind of overcommitting, and just not really enough to actually take down the Corruptors in this. If you don't have enough Liberators to take down the Corruptors, then it's going to be a very one-sided affair for the most part. All of those Banshees go down. We're just going to fight against. They help out a few SCVs. Just going to be targeting down what they can get, and we're going to see a couple more Hellbats going down. More Roaches on the way out, and just going to be picking away at another few SCVs as well. We're going to go down, the SCV going down also, and we'll just see. Uzikoti, I mean, 150 supply, army supplies are very similar. He's just mining less over time than Serral because he's got 30 workers less. So, I'm just going to be taking a whole bunch of, oh my god, like so many mules dropping down for Uzikoti here on this base. So just going to make sure he's not running out of minerals anytime soon. He'll very soon be starting to move towards this base down here as well, with his new command center and so on and so on. He'll obviously just keep on expanding this. Again, Liberators out in the middle. They're going to pick off Vipers. They're doing a very good job picking off Vipers. And actually these Corruptors, a lot of them stacked up. He took a little bit more damage than he needed to there. I think he could have got a good shot into the center of those Corruptors, but he didn't. Instead, he tried to shoot down a Viper, which didn't work out too well for him. SCV's being pulled forward to repair up a couple of these Liberators. As this continues, a few Roaches cleaned up a little bit of mess over to the side. As well, needs to be very careful here. Needs to pull everything away from the spore crawlers. Does not want to fight in those. So these SCVs being pulled forward, attacking these spores as well. Hellbats too. And still just Roaches coming out for Serral as his choice of ground army, of course. I mean, what else is he really meant to go for? At this point, making Brutalist probably wouldn't work out too well at all. I mean, we mentioned that a little bit earlier. But, I guess, you know, when I think about it a bit more, I mean, a couple of Brutals might be okay, but for the most part, Roaches are going to deal with anything. I don't think Brutals would be a bad idea, it's just that at the same time, there's nothing to actually kill off on the ground. You know, there's going to be, well, you know, a few Hellions. There's nothing Roaches can't deal with, so better just kind of save the expenses and just build kind of enough Roaches to kind of take down them Hellions as well. And they do a lot more as well, obviously they're more mobile, so it kind of fits in better with the kind of Zerg kind of late game army, which is obviously because it's flying, may not be kind of the fastest flying unit of the Zerg, but it is kind of mobile and can move around the map somewhat easily without the Broodlord slowing them down, trailing behind. Liberator count up at 20. 20 Liberators, 24 Hellions. 20 Liberators against 24 Corruptors, but 7 Vipers, which means 7 parasitic bombs, and those bombs will change this game probably. These bombs will kind of decide this game as there's a couple of parasitic bombs coming down already. Splits away both of those Liberators, which are dealing the damage out. Just going to split them away, but then a couple of them running into spore crawlers once again and again. Just be careful of that. It's the second time he's doing it this game. This Hellbat's going to be moving forwards. 4 more Liberators being made. Just going to be attacking straight on in towards the sec defense here. Just sort of go for it as that. I mean, the spores are going to start going down, which I guess is what he's really looking for, so he can actually attack in towards these Corruptors without them just sort of camping over spores. So looks like they might be trying to go for this. However, we see lots of Corruptors on the north side as well. These Liberators do not look to be being too successful, as we can see. Just a couple of spores just repositioning to the south side. Liberators just going to move around and pick off Overlords now as a couple of Banshees come in. They kill off the Troop Teamer, move away. They'll stick around to kill off a Roach or so, then move away once again. They don't want to stick around too long. They don't want to be caught by those Corruptors, obviously. That's another base for our Terran player. Going to be cleaned up by these Liberators. Of course, he doesn't know about that Roach underneath. Well, actually, maybe he does see it. I mean, he does have a sensor tower, so... sorry, a missile turret. He has a detector, so he knows that's there. He can just siege up. Although he has to be careful because, once again, there are the Vipers. Actually, just going to let his Banshees come in and clean up that Roach burrowed under the command center. We're going to see that CC ready to drop down. Oh, I'm not sure. I think a couple of Liberator shots just went off over here. So you're going to see Liberators coming in. Them Corruptors are very stacked, but that's not where the Liberators are fighting right now. Parasitic bombs are doing a lot of damage. They're going to keep on coming through. All the Liberators are going to disappear. Oh my god, they're just about to survive, but I mean, they take way too much damage on the way. Then Parasitic bombs doing way too much. And that is just a hard counter. And it's not really hard. I mean, obviously it's a hard counter if you just don't micro against him. It looks as though Uzikoti at some point just said, like, oh, I'm just done with this. And we do have 2 players to introduce to you right now. To the bottom right hand side from my insanity, it's going to be our red Zerg player. It is Serral. Down to the bottom left, it's going to be our teal Terran player from Romantic Gaming. Let's hear it, guys, if you're cheering on Uzikoti. So, as we set up into, our next game. Wait to see what Uzikoti's going to do this time around. I mean, obviously, the playstyle there did in that last game did not end up working out for him. So, the playstyle there did not really end up working out for him. We're going to see this barracks just building up for Uzikoti. And he's going to get that finished, and we'll see a reactor coming down. It's going to be a reactor expand from him this time around, and well, we'll see if he goes. I mean, the thing is, you can open... The opening here isn't necessarily going to tell us that he's going to play Liberator Banshee once again, right? The opening here is more or less just going to show us how he's going to open, I mean, more than anything, because you can go Liberator Banshee off of anything. I mean, it's once you just suddenly start out on starports, that's the only really time which you can... Yeah, I mean, it's... Yeah, I mean, just you can go into off of anything. It's just waiting for them starports to come down. We actually see reacted Reapers coming out here. So that's a little bit different. I mean, it's not unheard of to go into kind of a couple of reacted Reapers here. It's just, well, it's not very, it's not unheard of at all actually. But it's just something you don't see all of the time. It's not the most common of openings here from Uzikoti, basically. You're going to see a second Rex coming down and a third Rex behind us as well, I imagine. So probably going to see him going into very fast tech lab, very fast stim. Probably really just looking for kind of a big stim time and a big kind of, maybe kind of a push with stim pack and medevacs, which is just going to hit a lot earlier than the Zerg player would really be expecting. Just hits at a time when he's still going to be kind of just building up and so on. As we're going to see, the Reaper's just going to be popping up into the natural, into the main. Reaper grenade on the ramp, and he actually gets a Zerg kill because of it, and he actually will chase down to the low ground as well. He's going to get a drone kill potentially. There's a lot of potential to do kind of different things here. It's been fairly good damage with the Reapers. Of course, we don't usually see 2 Reapers anymore. Usually we just see kind of players sticking with the 1 Reaper nowadays. The double Reaper play is something which they don't really feel is worthwhile to kind of slow down the rest of your tech. Especially nowadays. I mean, in Heart of the Swarm, you had nothing to really, you know, what do you get from rushing out of starport? You know, not really a lot. And Legacy of the Void, well, you can get Liberators. And everyone knows that everyone loves Liberators, right? So you see the Marines and the Reapers just going to be taking down these rocks. It looks as though both players actually going to be taking down their rocks. So both players just interested early in the game to be left alone, left to their own devices. Serral going into a very fast lair, which could indicate him just going and taking straight into Middleisks, while from our town player we see the factory just building up a reactor and a starport on the way. So again, I feel as though there's going to be kind of this big kind of stimmed, 16 Marine stim pack drop, where they're going to be able to just, again, look to really get a lot of damage done here. Now Serral's trying to scout in, he sees a starport building, he sees a reactor, and he sees a tech lab research, and so he actually sees enough here realistically. I mean, if we just take his vision for a moment or two again, as these rivers come in, shouldn't really be doing too much with link speed out. So, I mean, Serral pushes them back. So his vision here sees a starport, sees the factory, which means this has to be a barracks. And so he actually has pretty much all the information he needs to know what's going on in the early stages of this. 2 medevacs on the way out. Now the good thing for Uzikoti, is that Serral's Mutalisks are going to pop out kind of when his drop is hitting. So basically just after Serral has invested into his Mutalisks, this drop is going to hit, and that's going to make life difficult for Serral, who is starting to pain unless he's got more lings on the way. I kind of feel as though he could get a lot done with this, honestly. I mean, we got so many Marines here ready to go 16. 2 medevacs right now. Stim is what? 25 seconds away, 26 seconds away. Well, let's see what happens. These medevacs are going to be coming across over to the right-hand side. They're going to be looking to go and drop in towards the edges here. And well, already some Zerglings ready in position. Stim isn't ready just yet. Here come the grenades from the Reapers. No, the Reapers don't drop any grenades. He's going to drop on the low ground now. Serral just good position in here, and this is the sort of timing where you look at it, you're like, well, Uzikoti, maybe you should have kind of looked for a different location to drop in or so. Obviously, it's not easy, but we're just going to see these Marines moving forwards, and Overlord is going to be dropping here. Banelings are getting targeted down. So Banelings is starting to go down, and you see one Baneling targeted, and that's actually going to be about it. He actually loads up and leaves once again. So Uzikoti doesn't really find the damage which I was kind of thinking he might with this medevac drop. It's tough on this map because there's obviously just one location which is very obvious for you to drop into. If you drop into that location, well, The opponents are prepared for it. Not going to be great for you as we see Lings streaming in once again. Banelings too, so it's actually going to be important here. Sniping down those Banelings, target them down. Widowmine's going to burrow. And this is really nice actually still, I think, from Uzikoti, because Serral's Mutalisks here are not necessarily going to get a lot done as Widowmine though goes off on just a couple of Zerglings. The second Widowmine also not hitting effectively, as you have a few Marines up to the top side, but everything's going to get cleaned out here it seems. Serral is going to be pushing this away. And after a tough couple of moments, kind of a scary moment or two where it looked as though he might just not have enough, he is just going to be able to hold on fairly safely as well. Although he is actually 5 workers down, he's actually down in supply overall. But you just have meters to harass with. If you can just push this army away, we're going to see the Widowmine starting to be cleaned up. And you're pushing on in. Oh my god, that Widowmine goes huge! Some of the Marines still surviving here. One more Baneling drops down, and well, 5 Marines left over. The Mutalisks don't have any upgrades just yet, so they can't actually really fight against this. Just Marines. Way too good. I'm going to see the Marines just unloading. I'm just going to be killing off another Mutalisk or so as the medevacs go down. So all said and done, Uzikoti's done a fair amount of damage, but look at this. He's gone into only just now his 5 racks. His third city is still building. And so, oh no! Serral runs into the Widowmines though. That's the second time today we've seen 4 Widowmines picking off a whole clump of mutas. Wow, that wasn't as crazy as solo versus reality. That was really crazy. We saw about 19 mutas die in a second earlier in the Leifen Cup. But, well, Uzikoti, the problems I have for him right now is the fact that his drops, is that everything is just feeling so late for him as a follow-up. His third CC feels very late. His extra barracks seem very late. His upgrades feel very late as well. It feels as though he could have probably gotten some of it done while he was attacking. Maybe got just a little bit too caught up in the engagement. And looked as though he was doing very well. And was like, okay, well, gonna keep paying attention. Serral is getting hit by some heavy Widowmine shots today. This Widowmine has just 15 kills on it. I mean, that's a lot of Widowmine kills on the Widowmine, especially only 8 minutes into the game. It's gonna come in and clean up that mine. He was a hero, but doesn't live to tell its tale, as we do see Uzikoti just joining everything up together once again, just regrouping, and maybe time to start just pushing the front and start cleaning out some of this troop spread at the front as well. Maybe when he gets one finish, that's what he's going to be planning to do. I mean, pushing the front while dropping in towards the main is very powerful on this map. It's not kind of the biggest difference, they're not the largest distances apart. They are still a little bit apart. Lings just working their way through the rocks here then. On the right hand side, some Lings working their way through the rocks on the third base as well. And the meters just sort of kind of collecting together with these with this overseas and just waiting to see what's kind of going to be up next. Uzikoti's still in supply, and Serral gonna have to find himself a really strong engagement to be able to stay alive here, because Uzikoti has a very scary army, and yeah, Serral really needs some good Baneling connections or something. I mean, he's got Baneling speed. He'll be behind by a +1 upgrade. I'm not sure if I don't think +1 armor is going to finish for the turn before he really commits to this fight, so let's see. We're going to see a few Marines loading up into medevac. A little bit of a preemptive play there by Uzikoti as he stems his Marines forwards. Widowmine's going to start burrowing. You see Widowmine's already today getting a lot of connections, a lot of successful connections as his 4th base is under fire. And I actually think Uzikoti is going to be able to push through this 4th base. Ling's Bane streaming on in and looking to keep on cleaning up. Here's Flying on in as well. And well, again, Widowmine's doing a little bit to the Mutalisks, but 4th base falls, and Uzikoti is the player with the advantage of the momentum. Still pushing forwards here. Another Baneling gets cancelled, and as time continues to pass by, it looks more and more as though Uzikoti might tie up this series 1 game apiece against Serral of all people, which would be absolutely crazy, absolutely insane. As these Liberators coming in, just trying to get some damage, some light damage onto the Mutalisks to help the Marines work their way through them. And Uzikoti pushing through the bottom side of the map is still reinforcing this. He's doing good, I think, in the end. I mean, his first job didn't look as though initially it really did a lot, but over time I think the Widowmine connections, more so than anything else, began to add up, and Serral just found himself in a bit of a tougher position. However, medevacs are falling. He needs to try and keep a few of these alive. Drone's currently long distance mining, as we're going to see Uzikoti just pulling back and just how he sit and kind of play against this third natural expansion, pulling away and just reinforcing as the Banelings try and move in once again. So not letting himself get hit by anything dangerous, just going to have a Liberator taken down by a Queen. There's more meters on the way up as well. I'm not sure what more meters really add to this right now, unless he can clean out enough of the Marines, which maybe he can. It really does come down to the Baneling connections. If the Banelings are good, anything is possible for Serral. If England's are bad, there's very little you can do anymore. As Withermines keep on growing up, Withermines just keep on training against anything and everything in their range. As you see, Marines, Marauders, kind of shutting down the ramp between Serral's main and natural now, and pushing in towards the mineral line. This way, the real damage starts to get done. However, so many mutalisks. Serral's just going to type out GG, though he knows he can't hold on. And using top left hand side, our teal Terran player from Romantic Gaming is going to be Uzikoti. Tying fingers up there in game number 2. And that's down to the bottom right. It's going to be our red Zerg from My Insanity. Let's hear it if you're cheering on Serral. So after this, we'll probably take a quick break, come back after I've tried to find a match, and then have a bit of a look through the bracket while we wait for the videos to be done. Again, we don't know obviously what just yet we're going to be casting, but we'll know soon. As we just set up into the third game. Now, these spawns in particular are okay for Serral because the way in which he takes his third base is not towards the Terran's third base, which is oftentimes the real issue for Zerg on Carnage, Korhal Carnage Knockout. So say, for example, our Terran player spawned up here, which is definitely, it's possible he could have spawned there. So say he spawns here. What happens in that regard is then the Terran moves here for his natural, and his third base is here, which is of course only a set of rocks away from the third base of the Zerg player here. Now that's not good. That is not what the Zerg player wants, to be that close to the Terran with their third. So it actually then forces Serral to take his natural here, but then move over here, take down these rocks before he can take a third base here, which would be a lot safer. So by not spawning in those locations, Serral is going to be somewhat, fairly happy, because it means he can just take the third, which is a little bit easier to take. He doesn't have to worry about knocking down rocks and being all over the place. So that's good for him. So that's good start already. Seeing Overlord just chilling out over the top of these rocks, as we do see a Reaper just going to be coming across the map, and just having a look from Uzikoti to see what is going on. So just going to try and figure out what's up for Serral right now, popping into the main base, and well, I mean, he'll see Zerglings speed early on, and Serral actually not going to mine any further gas from this, so I'm just going to be pulling out the gas completely. Uzikoti could see that, he'd be very happy, because that would be kind of a really good scout, because it means that there's no Pneumatized Carapace, there's not going to be any kind of, no Pneumatized Carapace, there's no kind of lair play on the way or anything like that. As you do see this Reaper just coming in, just going to be working his way against a, pulling in against another drone or so in the middle line, so there's some kind of early standard damage being done. Reaper backs off and just pulls back towards the center of the map. Link speed will be finishing soon then from Serral. We'll wait to see when exactly he decides to put his workers back into the gas over here. Third hatchery on the way down now over to the right hand side as well. So going up into free hatch play. Our Terran player going into once again kind of a very fast kind of double racks opening. So looking as though he wants to try and do pretty much a very similar kind of play style to what he did in the last game, which is that fast stim to begin with and then just sort of attacking. This is a good map to kind of play 2 base on instead of ever adding on the third base, just instead kind of go into just 5 racks straight away and just sort of go from there, because it's one of those maps where there's a lot of kind of, if you can get up to the third base, like I know it's not easy, but you can kind of work your way in quite easy. I don't know, I feel as though there's a lot of potential in this map. You can work your way into the main from behind these rocks. There's a really kind of abusable map for Terran in terms of positioning. There's some Lings and Queens just working their way through these rock towers. Just going to be knocking them down and kind of securing himself on his free bases here in the very near future. As we'll see the single Zergling for Serral moving out. Going to take the watchtower on the left hand side. Just going to hold that for a little while. As we see the Reaper just coming out the front. I think the Reaper must have died, right? Not sure when. Probably when the Lings got speed, probably just overcommitted. As you see, Stim is on the way up for Uzikoti. He's going to have that starport onto the reactor very soon as well. So very similar to what we saw in game number 2. However, from Serral, it's something much different. This time, he's not rushing into a lair. He's not rushing into his Spire-based play. He's actually just going to go double Evo chambers. So instead of rushing out the middleists, he's going to be rushing out the upgrades and looking to take himself a strong upgrade lead in the game just by starting upgrades so early. However, it's actually already +1 on the way for our Terran player, so he's got an upgrade going too. So Serral not really going to take much of an upgrade lead, but we'll still have nice strong upgrades for him to trade with throughout the game. I mean, if this game does go longer, the upgrades starting this early from Serral means he's going to get into his kind of when he gets ultras, he'll be able to have some very strong ultras as soon as on the map. They'll have all the armor upgrades in the world. They'll be actually very powerful in the engagements as well in terms of actually taking down units. So that's something to kind of think about in terms of a longer run, I suppose. As we get set up, ready to go. And you can see a couple of Green Stomach come in and drop over here. This is the main base of Serral, and obviously a lot to be killed here. Well, is Serral really prepared for this at all? He's got, well, 14 Lings. They're not going to have too good a time. Does he even have a Bane Nest? He's got a Rotron, but nothing else. Oh my god, Serral is in so much trouble right now. There's drop coming in. Drones are going down. That's just GG right there. Well, a bit of an anticlimactic ending.